Hello everybody! Today we're going to unbox, take a close-up look and test the Daskoo Ultra Bright rear bike lights. So let's first take a look around the outside of the boxes. So the two models of the Daskoo Ultra Bright rear bike lights here. On the left is the TL01 model and on the right the TL02. So taking a quick look around the outside of the boxes of both models right here. And you can see some of its features. And on the back of the boxes, taking a close-up look with the product details and specifications showing on the back of the boxes of the TL01 and TL02 models. And the TL01 still in my left hand and the TL02 in my right hand. And now let's go ahead and open them both up. Let's start off with the first one on the left, the TL01. And we do so by cutting apart the sticky seal that's keeping the box lid nicely closed. And you can see inside there is a tray with the ultra bright bike light right there. So setting the box down to the left hand side of the frame. And laying the contents of the TL01 Daskoo Ultra Bright rear bike light across the tabletop, so you have a nice good view of the contents of the box. Let's start off by taking a look at this leaflet here, front as well as rear, and giving you a close-up look at the user guide or instructions of the Daskoo TL01 Ultra Bright rear bike light. And on the reverse side you can see that it is in Chinese with some English as well. Okay, so now setting that user guide to the left hand side of the frame. And moving on, you can see that it also comes with a USB, micro USB charging cable. So the ultra bright rear bike light is rechargeable via a micro USB charging cable supplied right here. However, you will need to supply your own adapter or power supply. So okay, that's the micro USB charging cable for the ultra bright rear bike light. And of course it does come with a strap for fastening the light onto your bicycle handle or post or seat post. So it is made from rubber and it appears to simply work by hooking any of the 4 holes onto the hook right there. And of course there is a bracket there for the light to clip onto, so giving you an all-round look at this rubber strap or fastener. And then of course moving on to the TL01 model of Daskoo's ultra bright rear bike light. You can see sitting nicely in its clear plastic tray. So tipping it out and giving you a much closer look. So I can tell you straight away that it is incredibly light in weight. And it does have a very nice finish. All around does appear to have a very good build quality. As you can see, there are no gaps in the housing of this light. It does have a very smooth and consistent finish on the surfaces of this light. So there is a power button as well as the same button being able to adjust or toggle the different light modes of this rear bike light. And there is a silicone flap there covering the micro USB charging port there to recharge this light. So this light is IPX4 rated, so it is protected from liquid splashes. So that's something quite important to know, and very important in the design when it comes to using this in wet or adverse weather conditions. So right there, giving you a good all-round look to this TL01 ultra bright rear bike light from Daskoo. So you can see it resting in the palm of my hand. I'm just going to move some of the accessories or parts of this light around so you have everything in a nice clear view right there in the shot. Just going to flip the USB cable around. Okay, so nice good look right there, giving you some sense of the size of the TL01, I beg your pardon, rear bike light from Daskoo. So this is an ultra bright rear bike light with multiple lighting modes or effects. So once again, showing you the size and overall build quality. So as I mentioned, very light in weight, and you can see on the underside of the light is that flap there covering the micro USB charging port, and on the top is the multi-function button for turning on and off the light, as well as toggling through the different lighting effects. Okay, so now let's go ahead and turn it on by of course hitting, actually before I do that, I do have a Thorfire PF03 torch here, which I've unboxed quite some time ago on the channel. Let's turn it on and test the reflectiveness of this light. So does it reflect? How well does it reflect? Can you see? It's quite hard to tell. However, I will leave it to your best judgment. I can't see any reflection, perhaps because of the strong studio lighting, but nonetheless, this will give you some idea as to how it reacts to direct LED light being shone directly on the light itself right there. Okay. So turning the Thorfire PF03 torch off, now we can turn on the light by of course pressing on that power button right there, and you can see it does have a very clear and bright light to it, so it is super bright right there, giving you a nice good look. as to the brightness of this Daskoo TL01 Ultra Bright rear bike light. So super bright. Setting it down so you have a nice good look at the light. So it can be mounted vertically or horizontally, of course, based on how you affix the fastening strap on whichever part of your bicycle or bike. So right there, giving you a nice good look once again at the light. And you can see it is very bright, and you can see the red around the sides of the housing, and of course directly in the middle part is a very bright and white LED. Okay, let's toggle the lighting mode by pressing or tapping on the power button. So that's off, and it does have a strobe right there, as you can see, blinking away there. And as I mentioned, it is very, very dazzling, very bright. So people will definitely be aware of your presence. Let's tap on that button again and cycle through the different modes. So this one is rather cool. You can see that red and white LED flashing away, almost making it appear that you are an emergency services vehicle or operator right there with the red and white strobe. So once again, quite dazzling, especially the white shining through. And let's press on that button again. And let's see what other modes there are. And you can see this time around, it is a solid red. So plenty of lighting modes right there. And this red is a very intense red right there, as you can see. I'm going to set it down on the tabletop. So nice red light, and very warm. You might even think that it's a fiery, deep heater lamp halogen red right there in appearance. So very, very intense, although it looks white in the camcorder's LCD. I can assure you that it is a very bright red right there in the central part of this bike light. Okay, so let's toggle it through again, see what else there is. So this time round, it is a red blinking or flashing mode. However, I must inform you once again, it does appear white in the middle in this mode, but I can assure you that it is a very intense and bright red that is flashing in that middle portion of this Daskoo TL01 Ultra Bright rear bike light. Just giving you various angles as well to see what or how the light appears from the side. And right there as well, I think this is quite a good demonstration to show you just how red that light is. I'm going to toggle through the different colors again. So that button being at the top, let's check it out. So back to the default white right there, a solid white light, and let's toggle it through. The white strobe, white and red strobe, solid red, flashing red, and back to solid white. So you can see the various lighting modes and intensity and effects of this Daskoo TL01 Ultra Bright rear bike light. So I'm just going to do it one more time. Going through the different modes. So back to the default or startup solid white LED again. So you can see right there toggling through, strobing white, flashing red and white. I think there was a solid red that I kind of just skipped right there. Once again, just giving you that full cycle right there. Solid red, which we missed, and then flashing red, and then back to solid white. So you can see several modes right there with this ultra bright rear bike light, which can actually be fitted on your handlebar as well, so that it can be used front as well as rear to indicate your presence. I'm just going to turn off that light and quickly just show you how that slots into, let's see if I can get it right, into the holder right there, and you can see it does allow for tilt as well. It does click away and quite solidly as well. So you can always angle your light to the desired position. So plenty of adjustability there. As you can hear how strong those clicks are. It's not going to wobble and loosen over time. So nice and firm clicks right there. And I'm just seeing if we can set it this way as well, so you can see horizontal as well as vertical positioning or setting of this bike light, so it can be used in forward as well as rear positions. And a clip so easy to release, just pulling back and slotting back in, and it does lock nicely and strongly in place with just a simple design right there. So nice clean design, very well made, very light in weight, and of course that light being ultra bright. So there we go, let's just cycle through all the lighting modes of this Daskoo TL01 Ultra Bright Rear Bike Light. Now we move on to the TL02. So we're going to set the TL01 to the side right there and move on to the TL02. Let's go ahead, open it up and see what it's about. So once again, we see that familiar plastic tray right there, and making sure nothing else is left behind. We're going to set the box this time round on the right hand side of the frame. And okay, and just laying the contents out across. Once again, you can see a very familiar setup. in terms of the accessories that have come included with this TL02 rear bike light. Of course, an ultra bright version once again from Daskoo. Let's start off by taking a look at this user manual. So this time around, a 3-panel or 3-part user manual. And flipping around to the reverse side, it is in Chinese as well as English. So we're going to take a close-up look at the English user manual details. So giving you a close-up look right there. So print is slightly on the small side, but you can still make out the instructions and details of this Daskoo Ultra Bright Rear Bike Light, the TL02 model. I'm going to set that user manual down. Let's set it symmetrically as we did on the left hand side of the frame with the TL01. And of course, once again, this time around, yet another micro USB charging cable right there. Okay, and just going to give you a good detailed look right there, and setting that down as well, and making sure that's in nice clear view right there. And once again, the similar or identical fastening strap. Very simple yet robust in design, pretty strong. You can see it is one complete piece right there, so, and it is rather chunky and flexible, so simply adjust and hook nice and tightly against your handlebar or post, front or rear of your bicycle, and of course that little clip there to fasten the light and release it from its bracket. And of course, just to show you the tilt angle as well, you can see that it does click in several positions, so you can set your desired angle, and it is nice and tight as well. Okay, so there we go, giving you that look right there. As to the diameter, and of course it can fasten even more tightly because it does stretch, as you can see, should you have a thinner post right there. So 4 holes for plenty of adjustability right there. Okay, so we're gonna unhook that and move on to show you the TL02 Daskoo Ultra Bright Rear Bike Light. So giving you a look at the light while it's still in its tray. And let's pull it out. And you can see this TL02 light does have an overall glossy finish. It does have a chrome accent around the edges of the housing, and you can see the goofy branding as well, as we saw on the box packaging. So nice good look. I'm going to set the strap on that side so everything is in nice clear view. So in terms of weight, this one does feel just a tad heavier, very slightly heavier, even though it is still rather light in weight. So once again, this light of course can be mounted horizontally or vertically because it does have this square sized or shaped mounting pin right there, or block. Okay, so multi-function power button right there with the modes and the USB, micro USB charging flap over there that reveals the micro USB charging port. So once again, this one, or this light, is also rechargeable via USB cable. So giving you some sense of the size, resting the light in the palm of my hand right there, giving you some sense of size and scale. I'm going to have the other light right there as well, so you have a good sense. Let me remove it from its holder right there. So giving you a look at the TL01 in my left hand and TL02 in my right hand. Actually, yep, that's correct. So we had the TL01 on the left hand side from the start and TL02 on the right hand side. So nice, good look at both of them. You can see TL02 slightly longer, and of course, let's take a side view, and it is slightly wider as well. However, it is a narrower or thinner light. In terms of weight, as I mentioned, my observation or experience is still the same. The TL02 on the right hand side does feel just a tad heavier, very, very faintly heavier. Okay, so we've taken a nice all-round look at both lights side by side. So next thing to do is actually turn the TL02 on the right hand side on, so you can see what they're both about, or at least what the TL02 is about, and perhaps turn them both on simultaneously once I've done the TL02 light on its own. Okay, so setting the TL01 back down and focusing on the TL02, let's go ahead and turn it on by, of course, pressing on the top power or multi-function button right there, and you can see nice bright red and white flashing. And actually, before I do that, there's one thing that I should test as well, is the reflectiveness of the light, if it does have any at all, and I can't quite see any form of reflection, but that could just be me shining the torch directly onto the light and just playing around with various angles. Perhaps you can see better, but that's an LED being shone onto the Daskoo TL02 ultra bright rear bike light to test for any reflectors. Okay, so that's that. Let's turn the Thorfire PF03 torch off, and now let's turn the light back on. So there we go. You can see once again, very intense, very, very bright light. This one almost feels even brighter than the TL01 that we tested on the left hand side of the frame. let's press that button and figure out what else there is. So this time around, this one is an intense red LED, solid red right there, although once again it appears white in the core or very middle of the light. I can tell you once again, it is actually red. Okay, and actually just showing you just how red that red is. It is a very intense and deep and very serious looking red. Okay, and let's toggle on and see what the next mode is. Next mode is a blinking or flashing version of that same red. So you can see just how bright that red is. And it does provide very, very good coverage, as you can see. Very intense. And moving on, let's toggle to see what the next mode is. And next mode is a solid white LED. So you can see very, very bright. Right there. Giving you a nice clear view as to how the light looks as well from the sides and various angles. Okay, and let's toggle that off and back on and go through the various modes. So there we have a red and white strobe, a solid red, a red strobe, and a solid white. And then a flashing white, and then back to that red and white flashing strobe. So you can see the various modes. If I'm not mistaken, they are exactly the same, or in terms of effects, to the TL01 that we tested just before. So very, very bright bike light indeed, and very easy to use. And you can see the fastening system looks rather robust and easy to use. Okay, so let's get both lights on and show you a side-by-side somewhat right there. The Daskoo TL01 in my left hand and the Daskoo TL02 in my right hand. So that's all the lighting modes of both TL01 and TL02 Daskoo ultra bright rear bike lights. You can see the coverage of both lights. which can both be mounted vertically or horizontally very easily by slotting them in their fasteners or straps. So I'll leave them both on the red and white strobe. So you can see both the colors and intensity of both Daskoo ultra bright rear bike lights. So that's the Daskoo ultra bright rear bike lights in the TL01 and TL02 models. Thanks for watching and happy shining!